Get rolling here. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jared Morrison. I'm Learning and Organizational Development Unit Organization Development Consultant, and I'm happy to welcome you in this morning to our ACEL to Extension series that Beth Flynn and myself organized and put together, along with the faculty of ACEL to present our information. So we appreciate you all being here today. I'm very excited to welcome in our speaker this morning, Dr. Amanda Bowling, on the topic of youth motivation. I will go ahead and put our landing website in the chat box. It is go.osu.edu/ACEL2extension. And that is where you can find information about all the upcoming and where we're also posting the links to the previously recorded series sessions. So you can get that there as well. So again, welcome you all in this morning. We do encourage you to use both the chat, and I think at times Dr. Bowling will be prompting you so you can unmute and speak aloud as well. And we'll have a couple breakout groups here a little bit later on. So again, thank you very much, Dr. Bowling, and I'll hand it over to you if you are ready.
Okay. Thank you, Jared. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and share some research and research-supported strategies with youth motivation. And I'm going to get the Zoom set up. And really quickly, I'm going to ask which screen can you guys see? Can you see my presenter screen, or can you see the actual PowerPoint screen?
Looks like your presenter screen right now.
And let me do that so that we can get to the actual PowerPoint. Oh, the nuance of Zoom, right?
That's
so I am very excited to be here this morning and excited to share some research and research-supported strategies when we think about youth motivation. And the big piece that I always focus on with youth motivation is how do we sustain motivation? How do we keep them in our programs and keep them motivated? Because we know if they stay in our programs, they're getting the benefits of our programs. So before we jump in to our content, I do want to do a real quick introduction so you know more about my background. I am Dr. Amanda Bowling. I'm an assistant professor of agri-science education in the ACEL department. So my primary role is working with our pre-service teachers who are preparing to student teach and then enter the teaching profession as agri-science educators in middle school and high school, and we'll be working with the FFA chapters in those high schools. A lot of what I teach is effective teaching practices, classroom management, behavior management, but I also teach our experiential learning and positive youth development course. And so a lot of what I do with my pre-service teachers, I take through a lens of positive youth development, but then I also use youth motivation as both a context for how I teach them, but then also content with what I teach them. And so my research focus looks at youth motivation. I look a lot at what youth motivation looks like in our school-based agricultural education programs, but then I also look at youth motivation in a broader context of positive youth development. I also look at youth motivation in youth's ability to engage and act within their community. And so that's a bit about me. I would say a passion. Not only is research a passion, but motivation is a passion to me. It's so fascinating. You can read all the research, you can know all the strategies, but then you get one particular youth that throws you another curveball and you're learning all over again. So I'm hoping that we'll learn some strategies today that when you get those curveballs, that you'll be able to think about and apply some of what we have today. So I'd like to talk you through what our roadmap is going to be, what our workshop is going to look like for our hour this morning. So first, we're going to dive into some research in youth motivation. What does it look like when they enter our programs? Why do they stay in our programs? And then Why does motivation matter? Why do we want to sustain it? How do we sustain it? And then the last piece we're going to hit on is that research to practice. What does it actually look like to motivate our youth? And before we move any further, I believe Jared has thrown these slides in the chat for you, so you do have access to all of this information. Oh, and now there it goes. So before we jump in, I want you to do some internal reflection, and we're going to spend a few minutes on this. And so I want you to think about, and I'm going to have you write this down. We're going to come back to this moment at the end of the workshop. So I want you to jot this down, but think about a time where your youth participants or a single youth lacked motivation to participate. It could be kind of in general, it could be around a specific activity, but I want you to take, we're going to do 3 minutes. I want you to take 3 minutes and write down a time where you struggled with either a group or a single youth and their motivation. So I'll go ahead and start the time now. Another minute 30. About 30 more seconds. Okay, and we're wrapping up in 5. Okay, awesome. Well, we're not going to do anything with what you just wrote down right this second. So go ahead, take that and set that off to the side. We're going to come back at the very end and see if there's some strategies that you can put to that situation that will help enhance the motivational experience. And hopefully that wasn't too difficult of an activity, because before I came to Ohio State and before I received my PhD, I was an agri-science educator for 6 years. And while you all were writing, I wrote down a few of my former students that I struggled with motivation too. And that's how I continue to think and grow, is going back to those experiences and applying the research to it. So like I said, let's set that off to the side, and then we're going to come back to that situation a little later on. But now let's jump into the research. What does research tell us? The first part I want to look at is that initial engagement. So, why do they join positive youth development programs? Whether that's 4-H, FFA, sports, scouts, these essential PYD programs, kind of that umbrella that we're looking at positive youth development programs. Why do they join? I would like for you guys to take a couple seconds, think about it, and either throw it in the chat, or if you want to unmute, tell me why you think youth are motivated to join PYD programs. Okay, I'm seeing a few come across the chat, seeing a lot of friends. Fun with friends, their friends had a good experience. Oh, parents made them. I would definitely agree with that one. Okay, so we're seeing some resume building, college applications. We'll take a few more seconds to respond. Oh, okay. So Katie triggers their hobbies or interests. I like that one. We're going to hold on to that one. Jennifer same thing, kind of that interested in activities. Okay, awesome. I appreciate the involvement and getting your brains thinking. So what research tells us is a lot of what you all just unpacked. Research tells us that for the most part, youth are extrinsically motivated to join programs. They start out because of someone else or something outside of the program or the experience itself. So we know that they join because they are encouraged, pressured, or told to by their parents. And all three of those levels have different implications on those youth. If they're encouraged versus being told to join, that's much different and has much different impact on their motivation. They can be encouraged to join by the program leaders or the coaches. They could be encouraged to join by their peers. They could be incentivized by awards or rewards. And really, all of this is extrinsic, or when we think about extrinsic motivation, it is those extrinsic factors that are separate from the act itself. And this is other people, awards or rewards, avoiding punishment or guilt, or even ego boosting. And so I'm sure as you all are listening, I'm hoping that you are nodding your heads along thinking, yep, I see this in a lot of the participants I work with. And this is what we tend to see. The issue is when we then flip to sustaining engagement, when we look at extrinsic motivation, that's not sustainable. That extrinsic factor that has motivated for them to join, that motivation will not last. So we have to think about how can we foster what's called more internal or intrinsic motivation, something that's a little bit more connected to the youth themselves. And so we look at internal and intrinsic motivation in two separate ways. Internal motivation is still a form of extrinsic motivation, but it is more what we call self-determined. It is more aligned with the youth. And how it aligns with the youth is that the activity, the youth can see themselves in it. They can identify with the activity, or it endorses their future goals and values. So that's where we can see career development, skill development, resume building, those pieces connect them a little bit more internally, and they're a little bit more motivated through that. When we move to intrinsic, that is when they are engaged in activity for nothing but the enjoyment and the interest of it, nothing else. Intrinsic motivation is the hardest to get. It is also the most sustainable. So it's really thinking about how can I have activities or a program that the students enjoy and in there are because they're interested in it and nothing else. And that's very difficult. It's very hard to get just one activity that's all they're interested in without having all these external factors in it. Okay. So this is what's going to kind of push into our next pieces, which is looking at why motivation matters, and then how do we take what research has told us here and put it into practice. That's the big piece, right? I can sit here and talk for hours and cite and quote research and give you all that. What matters is how do we actually take what research tells us here and put it into action. And so for the next part, I want you to think about the research we just talked about: extrinsic motivation, internal motivation, and intrinsic motivation. And we're going to do some breakout rooms. Okay, because I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to sit in a Zoom call and just listen to someone for an hour. I want to participate. I want to think, and I want to apply what I'm hearing. So we're going to break up into breakout rooms, and you have two goals for your breakout rooms. The first is I want you to discuss times that you have observed extrinsic or intrinsic motivation in your youth participants. And then I would like you to brainstorm the implications the different types of these motivations have on your youth. If they're only extrinsically motivated, what's that going to do? If they're intrinsically motivated, what's that going to do? And so I want you to brainstorm through that, those implications. Okay. And Jared, I believe we have breakout rooms ready to go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did you say a time?
I have not yet. Actually, that was my next piece. Probably do, how's our time looking? Probably do 8 minutes in the breakout room to really get that discussion going.
Right. Okay, so we are in groups of about 3 to 4, and we will move into those rooms right now.
And then do you all pause the recording?
Yeah.
Thank you. So awesome to have everyone back in the main Zoom room. Hopefully you guys have some really good discussions in your breakout rooms. So I'm actually going to open the floor up for a minute or two and have maybe 2 or 3 folks share what their group discussed, giving us some examples of seeing extrinsic or intrinsic motivation, and then what that kind of means for your youth participants. So if someone wants to unmute and share.
I can give it a go. In our group, we had people on like 3 different sides of the aisle. So we had someone that was part of like a traditional 4-H program. So in that, most of the, like pretty much all the youth like want to be there. So it's definitely intrinsically motivated. I have a mix. So I teach a lot of after school programs where the kids are signing up for the after school programs, but not necessarily signing up for my program in particular. So it's somewhat in the middle. And then we had someone that worked in the court system. So those kids usually definitely don't want to be there. So it's definitely extrinsically motivated. So we were kind of all across the board. And then as far as the implications that has on your programs, we just came up with sort of the obvious implications in that, like if they're intrinsically motivated and they're choosing to be there, they're obviously going to get a lot more out of the program and approach it a lot more positively than if they feel like they're commanded to be in there.
Awesome. I appreciate the share. One other person who would like to share from your group.
So I'll share. I guess one of the examples we talked about, and it happened to be the one that I talked about, but sort of camp counselors sometimes in their last year, they might be extrinsically motivated by other camp counselors to say, you really need to come back for your final year because you have a lot of skills to give to younger members. But the challenge of that sometimes is that they themselves are not giving 100% that year they come back. And so maybe they're not the stellar camp counselor that they have been in the previous 3 or 4 years. And sometimes that causes issues among groups. So when they're working in groups, it's like, hey, you're not giving it 100%. So I think sometimes as kids look back on that, it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't have encouraged that person to come back their freshman year in college and be a camp counselor. And sometimes it's the other way, but I think that's one of potential downfalls. And it goes back to what you said, Amanda, about it's not sustainable. But I think the other challenge is that when they come back and say, I'm only 70% committed, in my effort, then sometimes that causes other issues among the group because they're not there 100% and dedicated to it. So.
Awesome. I appreciate the examples. And as you think about what you discussed in the group, let's move to the next idea is, why does it matter? Why do we care about developing and sustaining motivation? And why do we care about the type of motivation our youth experience? And it all ends, if you look at this particular diagram, it all ends with the benefits they experience from the positive youth development programs. So really quickly in the chat, I'll give you a few seconds to pop this in. What are the benefits that you see your youth receive from their engagement in positive youth development, after school programs? Throw that in the chat. What are those benefits? Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of confidence, self-esteem, workplace readiness, connections to others, learning out, in particular learning outcomes, leadership skills. Okay, I'll give you about 5 more seconds to wrap up. Oh, connection with adults. I love that one. Okay, so when we think about what our positive youth development programs do and the adult practitioner and the role that they play in developing those benefits, the piece of it is the longer they stay in your program, the more of those benefits they receive. And that's the end goal, is getting them not only in the program, but to stay in the program so that they experience those benefits. So it all starts, if you look at the diagram, it all starts with the type of motivation they experience. If they are only extrinsically motivated, they're not likely to stay in your program. That isn't sustainable. If they're internally or intrinsically motivated, they are going to stay longer. The longer they stay, the longer they receive those confidence building, the skill building, the relationships to peers, to adults, the life skills, leadership skills, those 21st century skills. The other piece of this is we have to look at how do we, as the adult practitioners, use strategies to change their motivation, to take those youth that joined because it's strictly intrinsic, because mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, someone told them to, or their friends are in it. What are the strategies that we can use to flip that extrinsic motivation to something that's going to sustain longer? So that's what we're going to talk about now. This is the real meat and potatoes of today. This is the actionable part of looking at research and saying, what can we do with it? So this is going to model looking at the different times that they come in or sustain in your program. So let's look at that initial engagement, okay? You're not going to get away from extrinsic motivators, getting them to join the program. You're not. I mean, you're not going to pull the parents or the peers out of the equation. There's just no way to do that. So if youth are still going to be extrinsically motivated to join, how can we adjust that a bit? You're still going to have parents, peers, older members, older siblings that are going to encourage your youth to join your program. But it's working with these individuals on not only encouraging the youth to join, but how they encourage the youth to join. So it is working with parents, working with your older members, and working with the peers that are in the program, that when they're talking to potential participants, that they're not just focusing on themselves. It's not like, oh man, I had so much fun in the robotics, or I had so much fun when we did our community service activities. It's flipping it and having them talk to the youth that's looking at joining and talking to them about what their interests are. Are they interested in working with animals? Are they interested in more STEM-based activities? If that's what that youth interest is, then you're encouraging those parents and other members to talk about and connect that interest into what they can do in the program. So having it be less about me as the mom talking about, oh, I had so much fun and I get to hang out with my friends and I got to show all the livestock, but it's really talking to the youth about how they can connect what they like to the program. So it's taking that extrinsic motivator and flipping it a bit. The other piece to think about in that initial engagement is recruiting youth by connecting their values, careers, and interest. So maybe it's taking your Clover Bud program and using a wide range of projects or activities to gauge where student interests lie. So they could try out multiple potential projects and work with multiple potential older youth to see what they like or don't like. And it's thinking about recruitment activities that provide a wide range of experiences so that the youth can engage in the program. Another strategy you can use is doing a needs or an interest assessment of your youth in the community, reaching out to the formal educator, kindergarten teachers, first grade teachers, and having their students complete a needs or an interest assessment to see what they're interested in and how you can incorporate that. Maybe you're working in a program that the youth have to be in the particular program. Can you do a needs or an interest assessment with them to see how you could better connect what they enjoy, what they're interested in, what their future goals are to what the program looks like? And that's just some ways to take those extrinsic motivators and flip them during the initial engagement or initial recruitment into your program. So that's helping to take and step them away from that extrinsic motivator into something a little bit more internal right as they're coming into the program. So then the next piece is, how do I sustain their engagement? How do I sustain this motivation? And that's taking extrinsic motivators and thinking about them differently when they're in the program. And again, you can't get away from extrinsic motivators. They're always there. Programs are built with them incorporated in them. When we think about awards and recognition, that's always going to be there. But don't allow those to be your sole motivator. You need to incorporate other motivational strategies to accompany the awards and recognition. You just can't get away from them. You're never going to take away ribbons from the county fair. You're not going to. That can be a small motivator, but you need something else to go along with it to really sustain motivation. If you have motivators that solely boost ego, try to de-emphasize those, and again, have other motivators that go along with them. Make sure you're focusing on praise and decrease emphasis on punishment or shame. Praise, while it is somewhat ego boosting, also starts to build confidence in the youth, and that pulls away from ego to more internal self-esteem. But when you start looking at punishment and shame, they will do things to deter that, to move away from that, but that process is not sustainable for them. And the other piece is we tend to focus a lot on awards and accomplishments of others. We tend to focus on the accomplishments of our older youth in the program. And while those are great ways to kind of highlight the good things our youth are doing, make sure that we're not solely focusing on the award and recognition. But if you're asking your older members to share about their experiences, their awards, or that recognition, encourage them to talk about what they learned, what they gained, how this will help them in the future. That pulls away from that ego boost, and that pulls into achievement, it pulls into learning, and it pulls into kind of this outcome or the valuing or goals reaching that they get. So if you, I've sat in a 4-H meeting with my daughter who was a Clover Bud, and they had a few of the older members come up and talk about their camp experience and then some awards that one of them won. And it was very solely, it was fun, this is what we did. And when the award came, it was, okay, well, this is the award, this is why I won it. Having them encourage them to think about beyond the surface level, beyond what they received, and really have them pull down deep into the learning and the experiences that they gained. Not only does that benefit your younger youth in getting them to think about it's not just an award, it also encourages your older youth to pull down deeper beyond just that ego. It also gets your older youth to think critically about what they learned, which helps them in job interviews, which helps them in reflection. Those are all important pieces. And also think about how are you, that's supposed to say social media, not social meeting. How are you use social media to portray out what's happening in your program? What are you showing the public? Is it all awards and recognition? Or are you focusing on what the students are learning? And I call my pre-service teachers that I work with, I call them out all the time on how do ag teachers advertise what we do. A lot of times they're putting everything in the paper or on social media about awards and recognition, and that's nothing else. And so I encourage them to think about how do we highlight what the students are learning, where they're going after school. And that starts to get other youth engaged in your program that aren't just looking at an award, but are looking at what can they truly learn. So let's jump to our more internal motivation. And this is where we are aligning our values and goals or future career aspirations. So it's engaging youth and values into the activities you do. So maybe some of their values are family or community, engaging with their peers. Maybe it's working with animals. Maybe it's agriculture. So it's talking with your youth to determine where their values are, and then incorporate that into the activity. And a strategy I want to give you, if it's specifically that they value their community and they want to engage in their community, anytime you do a service type activity with your youth, afterwards, have them reflect as a group. Sit down with them as a group and reflect back on the impact that activity had on their community. This will increase their desire to engage in their community, or what we call community connectedness. And this will motivate them to continue to serve their community. But all it takes is reflecting after your community service event. Another strategy is encouraging youth to create written goals for the year, or maybe giving them a specific time period. The key is that they're written and that the youth have access to those goals and they see them on a regular basis. So maybe they put them in their project book, okay? Or maybe you encourage them to make a couple copies and hang them around their house. They need to be written, and you need to have conversations throughout that time period about meeting those goals. How are they doing and what adjustments can be made? The other piece of that is building their confidence through small steps to reach their goals. And then also to develop internal motivation, it's connecting their future aspirations or careers. Now, for younger youth, this may not be as big a motivator than it would be for older youth, but younger youth need to see themselves in potential careers. So that's seeing, if you have female participants, or if you have participants of color, that's seeing others that look like them, who they can see themselves in careers. So that's bringing guest speakers who are maybe female or people of color that are in STEM fields, that are in agricultural fields. They need to start seeing those connections, that I see someone like me in that career. I think I can do that too. And that's a big motivator for your younger youth. When you then move to your older youth, it's providing those opportunities to explore and build skills related to those various careers. There's also an aspect of resume or interview skill building in there too. But those all connect to what those future goals are for your youth. And then the last piece is moving to intrinsic motivation. And this is the hardest thing to do. This is where you align your youth's interest specifically to an activity, or you provide a wide range of opportunities that the youth can choose from that align with their interest. The hard part, especially when you think about our 4-H programs, how do you make activities that are enjoyable for a wide range of youth or for specific ages of youth? So it's having various activities that will help align with a various wide range of ages. The biggest thing, if you take away one strategy from today, the biggest way to increase intrinsic motivation, or what we call self-determination, is give youth choices. Allow them to make decisions. In your program, that may be the only time they can make decisions. In their home, they may not be able to make decisions. And oftentimes in school, they're not able to make decisions. They are told what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Give them choices. You have to be there for support. If they fail, you're there to pick them back up and help them, but give them choices. Allow them to make decisions. Allow them to create and innovate. Allow them to face what we call optimal challenges. So a challenge that is not too easy or too difficult. And provide them ways that they can hold leadership opportunities. And not just officers, but ways that even younger youth can be leaders in their program. The other strategy you can do is what's called flow. Flow is when activities that you immerse yourself in cause you to lose track of time. Take 5 seconds and think about have you ever been so immersed in an activity that you look up and 40 minutes went by and you would have swore it was 5. That's called flow. If you can increase the amount of flow type activities your youth experience, the more motivated they're going to be. So it's thinking about activities that are hands-on, that are thought-provoking, that are creative, and that are curiosity-driven. All of those factors help youth experience flow. And the more they do that, the more motivated they will be. Very rarely do they experience flow in school. A lot of times they'll experience flow at home in being immersed in video games or electronics. But how can you engage them in that in your program? How do you get them to flow in your program? So these are just a few research supported strategies to kind of help you think about extrinsic, internal, and intrinsic motivation. So we're going to do one more set of breakout rooms. Okay, I'm seeing we've got about 8 minutes left, so we'll probably do these for 6 minutes, and then we'll come back for a 2-minute kind of closure. So that motivational experience you wrote down earlier, grab that. In your groups, I want you to share the motivational experience you wrote down, and I want you to think about one or more strategies that we talked about that you could use to address that motivational issue or problem. Like I said, we'll have 6 minutes for our breakout rooms.
We'll go ahead and open those now. I put the prompts in the chat there. I was shuffling people. We had a few hop off. I'm guessing they probably have 10 a.m. meetings. So I didn't want there to be a group of 1 that I accidentally sent out there.
Do you want to pause the recording? Okay. So again, thank you for attending and participating in the breakout rooms. For the sake of time, could I get one person to kind of share out to the group kind of the motivational experience they've had, and then a strategy they could apply to that?
Not to put you on the spot, Ken, but Ken had a great question at the end that we weren't able to answer. So if you want to float your question and maybe get a quick answer since we weren't able to, Ken, go for it. Again, sorry for putting you on the spot.
Thank you, Moni. That's okay. My question is that I was teaching, my problem was I teach life skills to 7th graders, and they have a coursework. It's from Botman, and they talk about fidelity all the time. And it's basically really incredibly scripted and really, really rigid on your time frames. And I get that when you're talking with 7th graders, they kind of zone out. So to try to make that intrinsically, I really don't know, because it's just like making choices. So I try to make it fun, as I can, but you have to kind of stay within the riverbank, so to speak, of the program. Suggestions?
Well, I feel for you because I also, when I was a high school teacher, I also taught middle school, and I taught 7th and 8th grade. And to be quite frank, 7th grade and then sophomore boys were the most difficult group of students I found to motivate. I think it's just a really awkward and interesting time in their lives, where they're not only trying to figure out school, but also figure out themselves. And I think you bring up a good point, is sometimes the structure we're provided won't allow us to move to intrinsic motivation. And sometimes we have to acknowledge that. And if we know that, we can move more towards a little bit more internalized motivation. I think you could still look at some ways to provide choice or opportunity for them to make choices. I don't know what the assessments look like for that particular curriculum, or what the plans look like for that particular curriculum. But even if you can allow them to, for one objective, one learning objective, can they choose how they engage with that objective? Or if you're asking them to demonstrate learning, can they choose between like a written test, or can they choose between maybe a small project that still shows the same outcomes, but gives them different options to demonstrate what they learned? I always tell my agri-science educators, we're very big on our formative assessments, on how are we checking for understanding in the middle of the lesson or after an objective. And that's where I really encourage them to have a little bit more fun, is can you give them choices on a formative assessment? So if you're wanting them to demonstrate a particular outcome, can you give them the options of, oh, write a tweet about it, or write a rap about it, or draw a comic strip about it? And those are really small instructional ways that I encourage my students to do a little bit more of that internal motivation in a environment that's very external. Formal education is very external. So I'm trying to get my students to think about different ways. If you can incorporate student identity, or youth identity, I use student and youth interchangeably in my work. But you'll get the student or the youth that wants to read, that they're a reader, that they drag, Harry Potter books with them everywhere. Or you'll get the youth that draws on everything because they love to draw. So it's thinking about how you can incorporate those little aspects of their life. Maybe they like music. How do you incorporate those little aspects of their life to kind of engage their identity in the activity? Hopefully that helped. But sometimes the structure we have just takes away intrinsic motivation, and it's just very hard to get there. So hopefully those helped.
Thank you. Sometimes they instead of getting gym, they got this class. So that was another barrier that I had. But thank you.
No, I appreciate the question. And I'm looking at our time, and I think we are right at 10 or a little bit over. So I appreciate the question, Ken. I know folks have probably got to hop off to other meetings. So I'm going to hang around. The last slide does have my contact information. That phone number is my cell phone because COVID, I'm not in my office, or if I am, it's a couple hours a week. So please feel free to reach out, either email or through my cell, and I'm happy to connect. And I love sharing research and motivational strategies. So please feel free to reach out. I'm going to hang on for just another minute or two if anyone has any further questions.
All right, and thank you so much, Amanda, Dr. Bowling. We appreciate you being here to do this today. I did post the evaluation link as well as our website link, so be sure to check those out and give us your feedback. I'll send a follow-up email again with that information as well as the slide deck that Dr. Bowling's allowed us to share too. So you'll get that as well. But thank you all so much for being here. We do have another session next week, actually. So check out that landing page and get registered for that. But it's on February 4th, so next Thursday. And it is effective learner engagement from Dr. Shannon Washburn, ACEL chair. So we will see you all soon. Thank you very much. And yes, we can hang around for questions if anyone has them.
Jared, I don't know if y'all stop the recording now or.